that one. The Jordan River used to spring out of this cave, but an earthquake rerouted it. So it comes out of a different spot of the mountain now. And this is at the very beginning of the headwaters. As I said, the water was low the second time we were there, but you can see how clear and pure it is, and this is where I get our baptismal water. So when I run out, I have to go back here and get some more water. But it's, I mean, you could drink it, it's just fresh out of the mountain. Now, because of the season of creation, I want to talk a little bit about water in the Middle East, because this is just typical of many places in the world. And this map is good because you can see, if I can get there, where's my little marker? I guess it's switched. But see up there the Golan Heights? See, that area is still very much a military area. The UN is there as peacekeeping. You're not allowed to take pictures. People watch you carefully when you go up to that part of Mount Hermon where we were. You drive through fences, and there are signs saying don't cross the fences because there are still landmines from the 1967 war. In the 1967 war, Israel got in power of these places, the West Bank and the Golan Heights, which has a lot to do with the water in the country. So let me see if I can get there. The water sources. See, this tells you a little bit about it. And as I said, this is just one place in the world, although it is a huge problem because the Middle East has big water issues to begin with. So you've got the West Bank water sources include the Jordan River, which flows right through the middle of Israel, and the West Bank is on one side of it, down to the Dead Sea. And before you leave, feel these rocks in the Dead Sea. You can feel the salt deposits on them even now. And so as the Jordan River goes down, it collects all of the different fertilizers and sediments, all sorts of things that end up in the Dead Sea, and that's one of the reasons you can float in the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea has no outlet. It's really dead. Nothing can live in it because of the chemicals in it, but people use it. That soap is made out of Dead Sea minerals. It's a very interesting spot. And it too is shrinking and drying up because of the way water's been used. So Israel's in almost full control of the water, and this happened at the Oslo Agreement in 1995. So you can see that Israel gets 71% of control and the Palestinians 17%, and actually that's even shifted a little bit more in favor of the Israelis. This is waiting for final status agreements on Israel and Palestine, which we know is never going to happen. Well, maybe it will someday. Thy kingdom come. So the Palestinian population's doubled, but these allocations are still capped at 1995 levels. So let's go back to this. So you can see this area, the West Bank, that population's doubled. But their water allocation's gone down through the years. Whoops.
I wonder if the Dead Sea was always called the Dead Sea.
I think it has been for a long, long time because
there weren't chemicals many years ago.
Well, it was still a chemically place because of the fact that it doesn't flow out, so everything just evaporates.
And minerals coming, all its
all the minerals and things.
Yeah. But it too is decreasing, huh?
Oh yeah, it's drying up, yeah. Now, where will this go? Let's see.
It was interesting to see how green it was around the Sea of Galilee.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you're in it, but
right.
that's
Yeah, this, and then as So as the Jordan River comes down, it's all very green and lush there around the headwaters, and it comes down the Sea of Galilee. And then when you're there, it's really shocking. Like the Israeli side is like flourishing, and then there are other parts. The Jordan side is just dead because they don't have any water for agriculture.
Right.
So this is, this article dates back to 2016, but so permits are given for, hey Zeke, come on up. Hey Chris. For any wells or any sorts of water infrastructure, you have to get a permit. So I've got somewhere the statistics for that, but the Palestinian permits are rarely granted, so they're forced to buy water, trucked water in the summertime at 5 times the price of network water, the water they would usually get. So 1/5 of their salary goes to water. I mean, we're so blessed because we just open our faucets and we have all the water we could ever want, but that isn't true in so many places of the world. I mean, in Africa, Carrie's been to Africa, people have to walk to get their water, like miles, the women. So water is a big issue in the world that we just don't really think about because it's not something we have to deal with right now. So an example, these two villages side by side, the Palestinian side has 20 liters of water a day, while the settlement right across on the Israeli side has 460 liters a day. So you can see this in Israel. You see the really elaborate Israeli apartment complexes that have been built in the West Bank, and they have swimming pools, they're really lush, and then the little villages that are just falling apart. So it's visually quite a shocking thing to see. But as I said, this is just one of the many places in the world where there are issues with water. So here you can see the World Health Organization is standard for water is 100 liters a day for people to have to use. The West Bank gets 73 liters and the Israelis have 240 to 300 liters. So there's definitely an imbalance. Yeah. And here you can see how the water flow is affected. Yeah, those are the rates, 56% approved, Israeli project 100% approved. And that mountain aquifer is another thing that's right now controlled by Israel. So you can see how politics plays into issues with creation. And as I said, this is just an example of one place in the world that has got this sort of issue. I mean, we hear about it because it's documented, but these shells are from the Sea of Galilee, and some these little rocks are from that place. Come and have breakfast. These are from Israel, and some maps, and then the Dead Sea rocks that you can feel. So, does anyone have questions?